For me, being the Tiger Award is something very unique, and I'm happy to represent my country also and represent some part of feminist movement because I'm feminist, I'm a filmmaker. So it's also show a part of our community and our way to think. Well, I try to be a filmmaker through my work, crossing somehow the borders and the limits, and also trying to build another imaginaries about the character who I work. For me, it's very important to make this film because I feel a necessity to create different ways to see the woman, and also a grandmother as my grandmother. And I would like to also create another time, another tempo about this town when I was shooting, and also a time, a fantasy about this woman, about her poetry. Well, if I win, that will be very like a dream, and we work with so little budget, so maybe we can do another movie with that.
Tell us about Nona. Who's Nona?
Well, Nona, apart from being my grandmother, is this amazing woman that I like to call some kind of a femme fatale. And, you know, she inspired me to get into filmmaking, and she inspired me to make this film. Also, she worked at my first film, Naomi Campbell. And, well, I think it was kind of a poetic need that I had to make a movie with her.
That makes sense. Nona's clearly not just a femme fatale, she's also a bit of a badass because you start the film with her throwing a Molotov cocktail, and there's quite a lot of danger also around her. You'll have to explain the title just a little bit.
Well, I think there is a need to create a new imaginary, a new image of women, especially in my continent, in Latin America, about what women can do. And, you know, throwing a Molotov cocktail, it's a radical act. And I wanted to portray that and, you know, some things that Nona said and did in her youth also.
I want to know about the structure of the film and how you came about creating this sometimes meandering, sometimes going back and forth work of art. Has this been a continuation of your work from the previous two films? How do you go about making this film in this way?
Yes, you're right. It has to do with a kind of a search, a kind of an experimental work that has to do already with my two previous films. And it is a way of finding a way towards the maturity of my job, of maturity of my work, and what I like to call trans fiction. It's a kind of a self-representation in a movie also, and all these different layers, what I like to call kind of the Baroque style in what you can represent in a movie.
Transfiction, huh? Okay, thank you. One more question though, because you dodged that one. You didn't explain the title at all. Would you say just a little bit of why it's this nice long title? Could have been just Nona.
I believe that if I had just said Nona only, it would have been, people would have thought, okay, this is another movie about that director who likes to film movies with her grandmother. Not only me directing or working with my family. It was, you know, I wanted to show this part of this rebellious side, or this part that is like a resistance in this kind of guerrilla part of her that I wanted to show in the movie.